Hello, I'm Jack Cobourn, and this is the Founders Vlog for July 8th, 2026. Let's talk about keeping it in the can. Now, I'm not talking about garbage or recycling. Those two things are really important. What I'm talking about is build a stock of footage and things to just have ready to go at any time. Last night I recorded 2 weeks worth of the Fertile Crescent for Strategy Saturday, and 2 weeks of the Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales. Tonight, after looking at 20 demos coming out this coming week, hey, guess what, game developers? The fact you waited until the week after the Steam Summer Sale to drop all your games, yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool. 20 demos when usually I've only had to play about 6. Yeah, that's not awesome. I know y'all probably had to schedule yours up, ahead of November 12th. I bet your games all were coming out that week, and you had to move them all, didn't you? But it's a good thing that I got some in the can already to make up for the time I'm going to lose having to play all these demos. So one thing I'm going to do tonight after I'm done recording this Founders Vlog is play 4 games of FIFA 98 and then also play Freefall 95, so that way we have Friday's Freefall 95, probably next week's Freefall 95 too, and then next week's Retro Gaming Weekly World Cup quarterfinals just ready to go. Staring at a screen with 20 demos downloading in the background. It's still stuck on the first demo. And honestly, I'm really glad I came up with the idea of putting stuff in the can for next week and the week after to make up for a little bit of this. One thing I will say is that playing the demos ahead of Pieces of Pap is a fantastic idea, because playing them ahead of Pieces of Pap means that I can adequately explain them to you in Pieces of Pap. One thing I've also been doing with the channel recently is after every demo in the YouTube description, I just explain why I voted it the way I voted it and why I scored it the way I scored it. If you haven't been reading them, go ahead and read them, because that's, one other part of this is the ability to do print-style journalism. So, yeah, anyway, we're just gonna keep putting stuff in the can. It's always important as a creative to have stuff ready to go in case of emergencies. One thing I did in a past life as a sports writer was I would usually go down for pre-season training of whatever sport it was. It was usually field hockey. And do a batch of interviews with the goalkeeper, the forward, the defense players, and have these kinds of things ready to go, just as field hockey's on the road this week, we're not, sending me to the University of Michigan to cover this. Okay, well, here's a, here's a profile on so-and-so. I would do a couple feature articles every semester. Spring, I did feature articles every week. I just did not want to cover any of the sports on tap for that kind of stuff. I did a lot. I did cover a bunch of games and stuff, but I liked writing features, especially about baseball players and stuff like that. It was really cool to be able to sit down and do that. But it was really important to have these things in the can and ready to go, just so we had them. And so it also is really good to have things in the can for if I want to shelve a series before it's ever coming out. Now, if you watched Curacao versus Cape Verde, the Retro Gaming Weekly World Cup game for that, I mentioned, Star Fox will be out at 7 p.m. And you're probably all wondering where that Star Fox video is. I decided to shelve it for an inordinate amount of time. It was just a decision I decided to make. It'll come out at some point. The whole series will come out at some point. I just decided there was no point in doing it since we have all the World Cup stuff on the channel and also all the demos that were coming out last week. Some of them were really like big important ones, and I thought, why do that? Why add another series to the roster right away? We have time. I've also shelved Europa for the time being. Nobody's been really watching it, so I just put it to one side, and we'll get back to it at some point. It allows me time to pursue other, gaming things here on this channel. One thing we are trying to do is figure out what the next Retro Gaming Weekly series is, so if you want to leave one down in the comments that maybe I would want to take a look at, please let me know. I think it's going to be either Pokemon, Yellow, or Sonic the Hedgehog, but it's going to be one of those two most likely if somebody doesn't have a better idea. But yeah, if somebody does, just let me know in the comments down below. And finally, I'm trying to think what else there is. Oh, yeah. It always helps to have things in the can. Like, this is the last week of the original series of Trade Wins for Trade Wins Thursdays. I will be recording in batches Trade Wins 2, so at least then we have them. One thing I've been doing is I keep a little notebook and I write down title names for the YouTube video so I know kind of what to put in. But what I've also been doing is, like with the Fertile Crescent videos, I've been able to export them right away. I made 2 last night, exported them immediately, and while The Adventures of Elliot was, being played, and then putting them up on YouTube with all the information and everything that's all ready to go. So it's one less thing I'll have to do, next week, is put that all together. Let's see, what else was there? Yeah, also, it really helps to have stuff in the can for when things go wrong. Last night's episodes of The Adventures of Elliot, some genius turned off his microphone. Even though it was plugged in, this genius turned off his microphone, and he had to go back and do VO for The Adventures of Elliot for next week's episode. So if you're wondering why I'm not talking through the whole thing and the game audio is really clear, that's why. I just recorded a couple little, bits where I thought, oh, well, this is what I said that was funny, and went back and did it. I'll have to do it again for the episode for not next week, but the week after. So you'll probably hear a stream of consciousness rant about something in that episode. But anyway, thank you so much for watching all my content. It's been a month so far with doing all this. It's been great fun doing all this. I really do appreciate it. And if you're a creative, definitely make videos just to have ready to go at any time. It really does make a difference. So yeah, please like and subscribe, hit that notification bell to be notified of our next video. Stay tuned for 20 demos next week, and definitely stay tuned for the Retro Gaming Weekly World Cup round of 16 matches that are going on this week. It's, been somewhat of a chore playing FIFA like this. I don't know how people do it. I don't know how I did it in high school. But you know what, at the end of it, it's going to be nice to take a little break, but at the moment, it's okay. We're having a little bit of fun doing this, so that's all that really matters. Anyway, have a great week, and I'll see you next week for the Founders Vlog. Bye-bye. This has been a presentation of Alsatian Productions. Blah, blah, blah.